seconds and counting. The guidance system will go in.
Hello students and welcome to Studio Classroom Worldwide. I'm your teacher Rachel.
And I'm your teacher Beth. Students, Chinese New Year is drawing near, so it's a great chance to talk about one of the most important foods enjoyed during Chinese New Year. Can you guess what food I'm talking about? That's right, dumplings.
I love dumplings. Do you like to eat dumplings, students? I thought so. We have a great article for you today, and we're going to learn about how these tasty treats, which are enjoyed in many countries around the world, hold a special place in Chinese culture.
So open your magazines to page 12 and join us for the reading for today's article, Dumplings, Dumplings, Dumplings.
Dumplings, dumplings, dumplings. One of the world's favorite foods holds a unique and famous place in Chinese culture. In Western Europe, they have potatoes inside. Korean ones are often filled with spicy pickled cabbage. And in America, they're filled with nothing at all. Dumplings exist in some form in almost every culture. They usually consist of an outer layer of dough and different fillings. These can be meat, vegetables, rice, cheese, or even fruit. The fillings, which can be salty or sweet, vary depending on cultural traditions. Dumpling wrappings vary too. For example, bamboo leaves surround dongzi, which are known as Chinese rice dumplings. While dumplings probably weren't invented in China, the Chinese have certainly made them their own. Chinese dumplings, called jiaozi, are one of the most celebrated Chinese foods. Although the exact history is unclear, the Chinese have likely been enjoying them since around the 1st century. One folktale claims that jiaozi were created to treat frostbitten ears. Whatever the origin, these dumplings are typically filled with pork, shrimp, or beef, and a dip made of soy sauce mixed with other ingredients usually accompanies these tasty delights.
Welcome back, students. Wow, just listening to that reading makes me hungry for dumplings. But let's get right into our article for today. The text opens by telling us about some different kinds of dumplings from around the world. In line 1, we read that in Western Europe, dumplings have potatoes inside.
We also see that Korean dumplings are often filled with spicy pickled cabbage.
And in America, they're filled with nothing at all. So we can see that dumplings are quite different in different places.
Let's back up and take a look at our first keyword of the day, spicy. Line 1 says that Korean ones are often filled with spicy pickled cabbage. Spicy is an adjective that we use when describing food that has a hot, burning flavor. It makes our mouths feel hot.
Oh, I love spicy foods. The spicier, the better. And I know that chili peppers give foods their spicy flavor. It's what gives foods the hot taste in your mouth. And in these Korean dumplings called mandu, the cabbage is prepared with these hot peppers, giving the cabbage its spicy flavor.
Now, spicy can also be used to describe food that is prepared using spices. For example, pumpkin pie can be described as spicy because it uses spices like cinnamon, 肉桂, and nutmeg, 肉豆蔻. So keep in mind, students, that spicy doesn't always mean hot. But in our lesson today, it sure does.
That's right, and those Korean dumplings are hot and spicy. The cabbage is also pickled, which means it's preserved or made to last longer by using salt or other ingredients. Pickling is a common way of preserving vegetables, so they won't go bad as fast.
And the pickling also gives the food a unique sour flavor. This kind of spicy pickled cabbage is called kimchi, 泡菜. And kimchi is used in many Korean dishes, and I love it. Well, we learned that European dumplings often have potatoes. Polish pierogi from Central Europe, which you can see in your magazines on page 12, are often filled with potatoes too. And we learned that Korean ones have kimchi inside. But what about American ones, Rachel?
Well, if you follow the strict definition of a dumpling, American dumplings aren't really dumplings at all. A common American dish is called chicken and dumplings, but the dumpling part of that dish is a bit similar to the outer layer of a Chinese dumpling. It's a layer of cooked dough, but American chicken and dumplings only includes the outer layer. There's no filling, but we call them dumplings anyway.
Rachel, you just said one of our more information words, dough. In line 5, we read that dumplings usually consist of an outer layer of dough and different fillings. Dough is a mixture of flour, water, and other ingredients. Dough is the white, soft mixture you see before someone bakes bread or cooks dumplings.
And the different dumpling fillings can be meat, vegetables, rice, cheese, or even fruit. The filling of something is what's inside.
So the dumpling fillings can be salty or sweet, varying from culture to culture. Remember, students, vary means change. So the fillings change from culture to culture.
Now, moving on to line 8, we see that dumpling wrappings vary too. This brings us to our next vocabulary word, wrapping. A wrapping is anything that surrounds or covers something else. For example, the wrapping of a dumpling is usually made out of some kind of dough.
A gift can have a wrapping too. We call it wrapping paper. Candy, CDs, food, all of these things usually come with a wrapping until you use them and then you take the wrapping off.
A unique kind of Chinese dumpling wrapping, mentioned in line 9, is the bamboo leaves that surround zhongzi. Even though the wrapping isn't dough, in English we still call these dumplings, rice dumplings, because the inside fillings always include rice. Other cultures use other kinds of leaves as dumpling wrappings, like banana leaves.
Well, we have much more to talk about, students, but now it's time to visit Ken and Vicki in the chat room. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Hi students, welcome to the chat room. I'm Ken. Today we'd like to welcome Vicki to the chat room. Hi Vicki.
Hi Ken, it's great to be back in the chat room.
Our lesson today talks about dumplings. Do you know how dumplings are made?
Well, I do. The lesson tells us that dumplings usually consist of an outer layer of dough and different fillings.
Hey Vicki, this word filling describes what is filled or put inside the dumplings. Now, how is filling different from stuffing?
Well, Ken, that's a good question. Both filling and stuffing are used when talking about food. But the main difference is that stuffing is used to describe the food or ingredients that we put into the cavity of a piece of meat or a vegetable.
Oh, like a Thanksgiving Day turkey.
That's right. Filling, on the other hand, is used, or a general term we might say, for any edible mixture used to fill pastries, sandwiches, cakes, or, in our case, dumplings.
I see. 今天的课文讲到饺子，饺子里头的馅叫做 filling， 它的字根 fill 就是填入、塞入的意思。除了用在饺子，许多的西点、蛋糕里头都会有 filling， 比如说 a pie filling， 派里头的馅。那再来看另外一个字 stuffing。字根 stuff 也是塞入的意思，但是 stuffing 指的是放在肉或者蔬菜中的填充料，就像美国人在感恩节吃的火鸡里头就会塞入 stuffing， 就是塞入火鸡肚子里的填充料。
Of course, Ken, filling can also refer to something used to fill the space or cavity of something. So a person may have a gold filling in their tooth.
Isn't that a filler?
No, actually, the word filler is what we use when talking about building materials and furniture. Filler is a composition used to fill cracks or holes in wood that will then harden and make the surface smooth.
Filler 跟 filling 不一样 ，filler 常常是用在木作，木匠在做家具的时候会用 filler 填缝剂，将不平的地方填满补平。家里在装潢的时候，瓷砖之间的缝也要用 filler 补平。
Okay, everyone, it's time for us to take a short break. Studio Classroom, we'll be right back.
Welcome back, students. If you're just joining us, we're on page 12 in your Studio Classroom magazines. We're talking about dumplings today. Before the break, we learned that dumplings exist in almost every culture.
The fillings and outer layers vary depending on cultural traditions, but dumplings are loved around the world. So, who were the first people to make dumplings? Well, in line 1 on page 13, we see the sentence, "While dumplings probably weren't invented in China, the Chinese have certainly made them their own."
Now, students, this sentence is one of our usage tips. Used in this way, while has the same meaning as although or even though. So another way to say this sentence is, although dumplings probably weren't invented in China, the Chinese have certainly made them their own.
And you can check out the usage tip at the bottom of page 13 for more examples of how to use the word while as although. So even though dumplings didn't originally come from China, the Chinese have made them their own.
This phrase, to make something one's own, means to take a pre-existing thing or idea and to make it unique. For example, if I buy a simple black dress, but wear it with my own unique accessories,
then I would say, wow, Beth, you've certainly made that dress your own. That just means Beth has given the dress her own style by adding things to it.
And that's exactly what the Chinese have done with dumplings. Historians believe that the Chinese were most likely introduced to the idea of dumplings from Indian or Middle Eastern travelers wandering through Asia via the Silk Road more than 2,000 years ago.
And they took the idea and made dumplings their own, using their own ingredients and their own style of cooking. Our text tells us that Chinese dumplings, called jiaozi, are one of the most celebrated Chinese foods.
And that word celebrated in line 7 is our next key word. Celebrated is an adjective that describes something that is loved and appreciated by many people. Something that is celebrated is well known and widely enjoyed.
That's right, and in the word celebrated, we see the word celebrate. Oh, I love to celebrate things, Beth. I love to celebrate birthdays, and I love a good birthday party where there's a big celebration.
Me too. And you know, dumplings are the most celebrated Chinese food because so many people around the world love them. Moving on, we see that in line 9, the Chinese have likely been enjoying jiaozi since the 1st century.
Wow, that's right. Even though the exact history isn't clear, Chinese dumplings have been around for quite a long time, around 2,000 years. And in line 10, we see that one folktale claims that jiaozi were created to treat frostbitten ears.
Wow, students, let's take a look at that sentence a little bit more closely. A folktale is a cultural story or a legend. It's a story that's often passed down from older people to younger people. It often describes something in the culture's past. Many folktales change through the years, so they may not be the exact truth. That's why I used the word claim in this sentence when I wrote this article. So it might not be exact history.
But that Chinese folktale sure is interesting. Using dumplings to treat frostbitten ears is quite a creative idea. Now let's look at that word frostbitten. It's one of our more information words for today. Frost is something that's very cold and describes something that is freezing. Bitten is the past participle of bite. So when parts of our body become too cold from staying out in the winter weather too long, that part of our body becomes frostbitten.
And it needs to be treated or taken care of. This folktale claims that Dr. Zhang Zhongjing, a great doctor of Chinese medicine, invented dumplings to help with the problem of frostbite. He put mutton, which is lamb's meat, along with some hot pepper and some Chinese medicine inside some dough, and he boiled it. He served those dumplings to people during the winter, and it cured their colds and their frostbitten ears.
That is so interesting. But whatever the origin, no matter why or how Chinese dumplings were actually first created, in line 12 we see that jiaozi are typically filled with pork, shrimp, or beef. Now remember, students, typically means usually.
And the pork, shrimp, or beef is often mixed with vegetables like cabbage, green onions, and garlic. Yummy! And in line 13, we see that a dip made of soy sauce mixed with other ingredients usually accompanies these tasty delights.
That word dip is our final key word for today's lesson. Dip is a noun that simply means a liquid or soft food that you eat by putting another food into it. For example, a popular American snack is chips and dip, when you take the potato chip and you dip it in a bowl of creamy onion mixture that we call dip.
And some of the other ingredients in the soy sauce dip that is enjoyed with dumplings are vinegar, sesame oil, garlic, and other yummy ingredients. It makes a delicious combination to accompany or go with the tasty delights.
Now, Beth, you had a chance to visit a dumpling restaurant recently, didn't you?
That's right, I sure did. And students, I'm going to share that experience with you right now. So take a look at this special video. Well, here we are at a very special dumpling restaurant. Not only does this restaurant offer traditional dumplings, but they also have some very unique jiaozi fillings. Let's go inside and check it out. Now let's take a look at one of the dumpling cooks wrapping the dumplings. Look at how fast she puts them together. She's very experienced. She can put together one dumpling in about 2 or 3 seconds. Now, this place is really famous because they have different kinds of dumpling fillings. It's really unique, like corn, shrimp, veggie, all different kinds of fillings. So after they're done wrapping the dumplings, then they put the dumplings into the hot boiling water. Now you know the dumplings are ready when they rise to the surface. The dumplings will get bigger, they will expand, and they'll rise to the top of the water. And then you know they're ready. These dumplings only take about 4 minutes until they're ready to be enjoyed. Now I'm going to try one of the most unique dumplings offered by this restaurant, the chicken-filled dumpling. Dip it in the sauce and take a bite. Wow, it's so delicious. The chicken is so tender and the flavor is so unique. You know, it's no wonder why so many people around the world enjoy dumplings. Wow, they sure are a tasty delight. I'm going to try some more.
Well, Dad, what are you making today?
Today, we are making dumplings.
Dumplings! Oh, boy, I love dumplings. Dad, what's a dumpling?
Well, a dumpling is a layer of dough with a filling inside.
Oh, what kind of fillings?
Well, there are many kinds of fillings: meat, vegetables, even rice or cheese.
Oh, okay.
And they can be salty or sweet.
I like sweet. I like chocolate dumplings.
Well, I'm sorry, there are no chocolate dumplings. These are meat dumplings.
Oh, Daddy, what is this?
Well, this is a wrapping. We put the meat in here to make the jiaozi.
Oh, jiaozi, that's a funny name.
Well, that's the Chinese name for dumpling.
Oh, did Chinese people invent the dumplings?
Well, dear, nobody knows for sure, but jiaozi are one of the most celebrated Chinese foods.
Wow. Daddy, what kind of dumplings are these?
Well, these are meat dumplings. There are many kinds. There are shrimp, beef, and pork.
Are they delicious? I'm going to try this one right here.
Wait a minute.
Oh, Right. First, I have to dip it in soy sauce.
Well, actually, dear, first we need to cook these dumplings.
Oh, I knew that.
Spicy. This chicken is really spicy. Give me some water, quick. Wrapping. The wrapping on this gift is so beautiful, I don't want to open it. Celebrated. Shakespeare is one of the most celebrated writers of all time. Dip. These potato chips are good, but they'd be better with some dip.
Hi everyone, I'm Michelle. 今天第一个重点，我们看 wrapping 这个名词。我们看到这个字里面有 wrap 缠绕或包裹这个动词，所以名词 wrapping 是指用来包装的材料。例如 ，The painting was covered in protective plastic wrapping。这幅画是用具有保护功能的塑胶包装材料整个包起来的。或者是 She anxiously tore the wrapping off the gift and opened it。她迫不及待地拆开包装，把礼物打开来。如果是包装纸，就叫做 wrapping paper。继续我们看的是 celebrated 这个形容词，它本来是 celebrate 称颂或者是赞美这个动词的过去分词，变成形容词，意思是指有名的或者是大名鼎鼎的。例如 Angela is a celebrated novelist。Angela 是位很著名的小说家。如果要说明是哪一方面很出名的话，是用 for 这个介系词。例如 This restaurant is celebrated for their juicy ribeye steaks。这家餐厅以鲜美多汁的乐眼牛排而名闻遐迩。最后我们看的是 dip 这个名词。dip 如果当动词是指浸或沾这个动作，但是在这里当名词是指吃东西用的蘸酱。例如Mom prepared her famous avocado dip to serve with tortillas。妈妈预备了出名的酪梨蘸酱，配着墨西哥玉米饼一起吃。或者是 She added some green chili peppers to her cheese dip to make it spicier。她在 cheese 蘸酱中加了一些青辣椒，让它辛辣一点。And don't forget to come back next time. I'll see you then. Bye bye. Thanks, Michelle. Well, students, here's a review question for you. According to a folk tale, why were jiaozi created? A. To treat frostbitten ears. B. To bring good luck. Or C. To keep people warm. Rachel, do you know the answer?
I do. It's a very interesting question. The answer is A, to treat frostbitten ears. Well, students, it's time for us to say goodbye, but we hope you'll join us next time as we continue this article about dumplings. From all of us here at Studio Classroom Worldwide, goodbye.
Goodbye.
To study English is such a fun thing to do. It's very useful for work or travel, always teaching us something new. We like our teachers and we love the lessons. We just can't wait to study English. So friends, be sure to listen, tune in, never miss a lesson. Give it a try, Studio Classroom Worldwide. At Studio Classroom, you'll find a way to broaden your mind. This class is perfect for me and my vocabulary. Make a friend for life, make us your friend for life. At Studio Classroom Worldwide, your friend for life. Make a friend for life, make us your friend for life. At Studio Classroom Worldwide. Studio Classroom Worldwide.